How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews. Back. Yeah. A little bit of a Hill Farmstead Pale Ale time in the form of their Riwaka. Yeah. Hill Farmstead stuff there. Came on 9/15. Today's the 24th, I believe. So, yeah, just 9 days old. Why? Because my buddy Keith exists. You all know Keith. You should know Keith even better now. You want to know why? Keith has started his own YouTube channel. It's not going to be all beer, mind you, but there's going to be a lot of beer, so go check him out. He will be found at 93 Lumber. I don't know why he picked that name. We kind of made that as a joke name for him, for all our beer stuff, and it kind of stuck. So I know why he picked it, but I never thought he'd go this far with it. So the long con. Yeah, so thank you very much, brother. Label-wise, Hill Farmstead. Beer-wise, Hill Farmstead. I mean, it looks like a soft little pale hazy. A lot of people think of Hill Farmstead, they think of, farmhouse ale. Obviously, that connection runs deep. But they've been doing these kind of hazy pales for quite some time. And that looks the part. This is exactly what they typically pull off. See if we get a nose. I mean, it's not that big of a nose. I mean, it's a pale ale. They don't throw the ABV on here, but you're thinking, probably mid-5s to low 6s. And what I'm getting is not an overly sweet beer. Always one of my favorite parts of Hill Farmstead. They'd never do that overt residual sugar game. Sometimes in the doubles every now and then, but in these pales, they usually stay nice and dry and drinkable. And then there is a weed-pulling, weedy, greeny, vegetal thing about it. It's not an overt 2x4 to the face of hops. It's not this kind of crazy southern hemisphere tropical thing. It really is a soft, kind of weedy greeniness that's very minimal. Nothing too aggressive. We'll see how it actually tastes, though. Let's dive in. Cheers. Man, this beer's so fucking basic and so fucking simple and so not complicated, but it's doing what I want, so I like it. I like it a lot. It is not a showy beer at all. Nice mouthfeel. Cool maltiness is almost like a little nutty characteristic to it. Just maybe like a soft kind of melon. A little bit of kind of like honeydew kind of melony thing going on. The star of the show is the green. It comes off that weed pulling, unkempt grassy lawn kind of green. By that I mean it's not weed like smoking weed. It's more like, a weed like you'd pull from a garden, that kind of thing, that tomato stocky green. But there's a fresh cut grass component to it too. That greeniness comes off as like a lawn clipping thing. So the unkept lawn analogy that I like to play every so often kind of applies perfectly to this. And it's not that aggressive. Like, that green part is the star of the show, but it's still on a scale of 1 to 10. It's like a 4. It's not a 6. It's not an 8. It's not a 2x4 to the face or even a 1x1 in the face. It's a soft grass clippings to the face. And that's the thing. Like, it's so basic. It's so simple. It's not electric. It's not super fancy. It's not doing all these things that a lot of breweries like to do with beer. It's a less is more beer. It's it's clean execution on a simple routine, and that is fucking amazing. Like, it sounds like negative, doesn't it? So here, let's pull an analogy out of the bag, the analogy bag, because that's how I roll. And I've never done this one, so this is new for you guys. So, I love the Olympics. Olympics are some of my favorite sporting event in fucking the world. I just love them. I dig winter, like speed skating, all that stuff, but Summer Olympics is my jam. I actually got a scholarship to college for discus for Olympics, or Olympics for track and field. So track and field sports are kind of my thing, but my brother was a gymnast. My other brother was a sprinter. You know what I mean? We had a lot of people in my family that were track and field people. And, one of my favorite things in the Olympics, and it's pretty much what everybody digs in the Olympics most of the time, is gymnastics, but more specifically female gymnastics. Just because, it makes sense, the amount of explosiveness in such a tiny package, it just makes for more incredible kind of things that happen. So you can, jump around and spin and twirl and do all these fantastic things. But you always have two mindsets when it comes to the Olympics. More specifically, the floor routine in gymnastics is that you can either pick a really, really complicated routine that has a lot of really hard to pull off shit, and you hope you do most of it on point, so the judges aren't going to deduct as much points. We're like, well, they weren't perfect, but that shit was fucking difficult. So, on a difficulty scale, it's way up here, but execution not as perfect. And you have the other end of the routine, which is do something that is not as gaudy, crazy, difficult, but just fucking precise execution. That's that beer right there. And both of them are equally as beautiful. But there's something about perfect. And I'm not calling the beer perfect. Nothing's perfect, but it's as close to perfect as you can get. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be that person. But there's something about being that precise and that dialed in to that level of precision. It's just beautiful. And that's where this beer kind of lies. This beer is called Riwaka Pale Ale. It is a Riwaka Pale Ale. Done. That sounds basic. It's very hard. I love it. Is it one of the better pale ales I've had as well? Yes. Mount Rushmore status. Value and availability. Treehouse, Jesus Christ. Ugh. Hill Farmstead. So their pricing is usually not that bad. Keith, what did you pay for this? Sorry. 93 Lumber. What did you pay for this? And leave you with, if you like what, will you like this? If you like, I guess if you like Olympics and gymnastics and simply well-made, pretty awesome beers, you'll like this. So there you go. Beer review and analogy in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little Riwaka jam right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers.